welcome back to Dolor Factor Live, of course, only on DBS. You have until 9:30 to send in your answers, and let me just remind you quickly of the questions. Where do you think you could buy this men's shirt? Okay, it's available in white as well. Name DFL's spa sponsors. And what I wanted to ask Emile as well is, what do you think about giving a woman jewelry? Like what I'm wearing here is from Romani. What do you think of, would that be suave or sexy? I can see you're bursting to answer.
I think it's a very sexy thing to buy.
It's sexy for a man to buy
women jewelry.
Yeah, it's very sexy. It's not suave.
I think it's a statement about the man, his taste, and
listen, men, watch. Yeah, listen, yeah. Go.
And his ability to respond to the many things that his particular partner does for him. Okay. It's a way of saying thank you. It's a way of saying I appreciate you, and it's a way of saying I think about you.
Mm-hmm. I think it's. Would you buy a gift like this for a lady and think it was sexy or suave?
I think it'd be both. I think the ability to identify that she would look good in a particular object is quite suave, actually. Going out there and buying a piece of jewelry, for example, which is perhaps not very common, is a very sexy thing to do. It's a very sexy sort of a gesture. Or buying lingerie, for example, is very sexy. You understand? But it's also I think it's a bit of both.
Okay.
But before we went to the break, we defined Shabby, so let's go.
but before that, as you were saying that, I was actually thinking, can you remember, this is a trick question for men, all right? I said that this is from Romania and they have 3 locations. What are the 3 locations?
Is point surfing one of them?
Point surfing, no.
I don't even
the
know.
Place Carénage.
I have no idea where Romania is.
Rodney Bay Mall.
Baywalk?
No, Rodney, JQ Mall and Rex St. Lucia.
Right.
Okay, so I'm just saying that for you men, so you know where to go.
But
and actually, I'm feeling really. I knew tonight I was going to feel really generous, and I've actually got something here from Romania. And gentlemen, if you can see this, I think the lady in your life would love this. So all you have to do is answer the question, name Romani's 3 locations, and then they can get this beautiful, beautiful pendant. I think it's gorgeous.
Can I answer the question?
Okay, can you answer the question? No, it's for DFL viewers only. Okay, now I've got something else which might not be too sexy, but I want to talk about this because you want to talk about Shabby.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say, I love this. This actually comes from Infinity Colour Shop, and it's a spray paint, and you can do all kinds of stuff with it, you know. And what I find sexy is if I can ask a man to do some DIY for me, and he comes prepared. And if he can't do it, I think that's really shabby. And I think most of the time I have that problem, because if we have to look at shabby, it's not just, a lot of people think of it as dress sense, but it's not just dress sense. It's not just some of the things that you said, which yes, I agree with. I think if a man can't do the things that we expect him to do, it's shabby. Let's quickly. I know you want to talk about shabby, right?
Sorry, I just think that I'm thinking of the politically correct definition of shabby, which is something which is perhaps derelict or perhaps showing signs of wear and tear. So a man, for example, who has absolutely no regard for his hygiene or his persona or how he looks is a shabby man. Now, if we're perhaps looking at a more urbanized term for shabby, maybe we can bring those things into play. But when I think of a shabby man or a shabby woman, I'm thinking of the individual, for example, who just really doesn't care how they look. You know, I've been to some events and I see somebody who just shows up.
Right.
You know, those people just get up and just show up. There's no preparation, nothing. There's no thought process into what you're going to wear. That's a shabby person. You know, you just allow yourself to just.
Is it shabby or lack of awareness?
Well, that's true. Some of it is lack of awareness that you're shabby and you haven't got someone else to tell you that. Or when they do tell you that, they say it in such a way that you don't care. But if the person approached you in a nicer way, say, look, you know what, your jeans aren't really up to par.
Here's a shabby thing
but let me
you.
just say something, because we actually have somebody on the line. Because I was actually talking to this lady and I was saying to her, you know what I find really shabby is the way that a lot of men, especially, a lot of men in St. Lucia don't know how to manage their money. And I'm not talking about you don't have money. I'm talking about whether you have money or not, you cannot manage your money. I think that is so shabby. And our first telephone guest, maybe I would say she would agree with me. Let me ask, Miss Dawn French, thank you for joining us on Dolor Factor Live.
Hi, Delia. Thank you. Good evening to your guests and your viewers.
She said, good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Okay. Dawn, tell us about, I know you have a book, and it's about money. Tell us a little about that and why you felt you had to write that book.
Delia, you know, the short space of time that you've known me, I hop on this all the time. And I talk to my friends constantly about how they manage money, because no matter how much money we have, we always cry we're broke. So it's really not about the amount of money we have, but how we manage it. And so I thought to myself, after preaching for so long, maybe I should just put pen to paper and stop harassing my friends like I harass you.
I'm going to ask you a direct question, because you said most of your friends. But do you find that most of your female friends or most of your male friends are the ones who perhaps don't manage their money best?
Well, you're right. There's a slight gender bias where it's mostly women who seem to be interested in the management of their money. I do have some male friends, but by and large, it's the women who are more interested in managing the money. I don't know if because maybe some of them have children and they're thinking of the next generation, but then that's unfair because men have children too. But I do find that you're right, it is women who tend to have a more interest in preparing financially. Okay,
well, Dawn, before you go, you have a gift or an offer for Dolor Factor viewers?
Well, you know, anytime I appear on the Dolor Factor, I try to come with a gift.
You always
And
do.
This time I'm offering a copy of my book for free. It's available at Sunshine Bookshop for $20. So I'm offering your viewership. And the question is, what is the recommended balance you should have on your credit card?
What is the recommended balance you should have on your credit card? All right. And the name of the book?
The name of the book is A Common Sense Approach to Money.
Okay, that's definitely a gift for men. Thank you so much, Dawn, for joining us. And I'm sure
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Okay, I saw Al shaking his head. Come on, what's on your mind?
No, I'm thinking of you referring to an individual who has difficulty managing their finances as being shabby. And I beg to differ. I mean, and I go back to the fact that somebody who really just exists without actually living. I mean, I'll give you a shabby example. Men who think that it's okay that when you get married, that it's okay to have a pot belly because it's part of the package that comes with marriage. And you just allow yourself to just fall apart because that's shabby. And there are a lot of shabby men walking around in St. Lucia because I'm married and that's what happens when I get married. Now going back to the finances, an unambitious male is a shabby person because you're just there. You're doing nothing. But traditionally, men were never good managers of our finances. Men have been forced into that role because you have a number of individuals who are either single parents, sometimes a lot of men who choose to be just the bachelor life, for example, and they've been forced. But I think somebody who goes out and is ambitious and brings home the bacon and has a good wife who can manage their finances cannot be considered as being shabby.
Well, yes, and I agree with you totally. I agree with you totally, and that is not the angle that I'm coming from at all. I'm coming from the angle where, and it's happening a lot in St. Lucia, where it seems to be, if you go out with a gentleman, he may buy the first round of drinks, but then you have to buy the second or the third or whatever. It's more the man that will text you and say, text me back.
Really?
They will call you back.
That ghetto page, that is shabby.
Most of the time, most of the time, it's the man will say, "Can we go back to your place?" He will not take you to his place.
What kind of man you've been talking to, Delia?
No, I'm talking about. The emails that we have received when people knew we were having this program. Their definition of shabby was that's what the men they thought it was quite shabby that men could not handle their money.
Is it because women today are gaining such economic independence? And so that men are becoming more opportunistic as a result. And I think I can see where you're going with shabby in terms of a man has actually backed down from the go-get, from being the hunter, which I think traditionally has always been the role of men. As you go get the bacon and you put it on the table and you think like, look what I've brought home. But I think that we live in a society today where those roles have actually changed. There's a complete erosion of that perception of how we all coexist in a society today. I think that the roles have been reversed in many ways, and I think I was absolutely right about when you talked about the fact that men traditionally went home and hunted, and they brought home the bacon, and it was the wife's skill set that, whether it was dicing it, dividing it, putting it away, preserving it, etc. And she was actually respected. It was a very respectable role. We live in a society where those roles no longer exist, where women are now taking on really, I mean, in some cases, there are women now who actually earn far more than men in our society today. But I think if you talk about Shabby in terms of a man who goes out with the boys and before he gets home has actually finished all his money through drinking, then that's a Shabby.
That's
a Shabby.
Yes, of course.
That's a Shabby.
Yes,
and also just to add to your point as well, you know, if a guy goes out with you and says to you, let's go back to your place, I mean, that's also shabby and shady, because something else, maybe something else is going on. Yeah. But I think, you know, there are also cases, for example, where if I'm married to a woman and she's earning enough, I have no difficulty staying home. Well, I perhaps would, but there are men who could stay home and be a full-time husband.
Absolutely.
Or, you know,
is that frowned on? Is that frowned on in our society?
But it is frowned on.
Yeah,
it is frowned on. I mean, I know certain examples that, you know, and sadly they've been in the media and in the public domain, you know, but when that happens. But I think that we have to be careful with this, because I will tell you that there are a lot of guys out there who are extremely ambitious, who go out there, earn a decent living,
absolutely,
and they just have difficulty managing the finances.
Yeah. Well, of course, that I have you know, sympathy for, and I would never think that was shabby, because at least they are being responsible, and when they're being responsible, in a way, as we said before, it's part of being suave. I wouldn't say sexy, but if you're responsible, there's something about someone who's responsible and reliable, you know, that kind of thing.
But do you think women recognize that need in men, that men still require that, what do you call it, the sixth sense, or that ability to manage domestic affairs, that which now men have been forced into that role? Do you think that women today are aware that men have that particular need and it's not a weakness?
Yeah, I don't think women do, to be honest, and I think that women expect a man to say exactly what she wants him to say. It's got to be whatever's on her mind, he's got to say that, because if he doesn't, he's lying. You know, or she has no respect for him. You know, and women, I think women are like that. Women think that men don't have emotions, or if they do have emotions, they're lying, or they're putting it up and whatever. But it's me saying that about men. But I would like us to talk about men and their emotions, because a lot of you guys don't seem to be able to say it. You can't say I love you, you know, unless you're pushed to saying I love you. You know, I'd like to know why men are like that. Why can't, I mean, not all men, some men do, you know, why they wouldn't do that. But we've spoken a lot about Shabby, and we've gone through all sorts of things. But I want to remind you, before we go to the break, about the giveaways tonight. If you'd like to win something from Romani, I showed you the lovely pendant. Tell us the name of the 3 locations. If you'd like a manicure or a pedicure, name 2 of Dolor Factor Live Spa sponsors. And if you'd like to get this men's shirt, just tell us where you think you could go and buy that shirt. Okay, we'll be right back, and when we do, I have a really, really lovely surprise for you, something that I said earlier that I was hoping we were going to get, and we're going to get it. So stay with us on DBS and Dolor Factor Live.